Tony, welcome to Tangerine.
Tangerine.
I don't know about this game, dude. I immediately put this one on because I was like, I don't have much to say about this one. I played this and
Okay,
I was like, nope.
yeah.
Um,
We're continuing the demo festival.
Steam Next Fest,
Yeah.
platformers slash Souls games. Um, briefly saw the thumbnail for this and I was like, surely there has to be some good platformer games to play in the Next Fest. And I briefly saw the thumbnail and was like, oh, this kind of looks like a real game. And then I played on it and I was like, this kind of doesn't feel like a real game. It's like, because immediately I was trying to use a controller to play this game, and it was like, it let me jump up and down and move left and right, but I couldn't turn the camera with the controller, which is why I got really confused, and I had to switch to mouse and keyboard to actually turn the camera. And yeah, this just
a
felt
bit odd. That's definitely a partial controller support.
I don't like the art style. It
No.
feels really clunky. It has this like this sensory thing where it's like it attacks your different senses, and I guess maybe the idea was to try and include that gameplay wise, but in like actual gameplay it didn't feel that great. It was just really weird. I don't this feels like maybe like a maybe like a solo indie dev project. I don't like being mean to people just like trying to make interesting things for people, but I didn't see any reviews for this. So I was like, here's some feedback. Controller support. It needs it. I would love to see controller support. Yeah, let's move on. Hymble Ventures. Tony, we were making categories, and I was like, it's so hard to fit some of these games into other categories, and I was like,
yeah.
Ghostrunner 2 is a platformer, right?
Before you added it to the platforming folder, I was like, yeah, it's a platformer. It should be in there. Yeah, I don't disagree. Different kind, I suppose.
So, I liked this. I thought it was really fun, just straight up. I think there was some stuttering, I gotta be honest. If there was definitely a bit of it did feel a bit stuttery. Like some shader compilation issues going on. I don't know if this is Unreal Engine 5 or 4, but yeah. The first game had shader comp, and this game has shader comp as well. I like the reflections. I am using DLSS in quality mode. There was a ray tracing option, but it was grayed out for me, and I couldn't figure out how to turn it on. But based on the fact that it was stuttering without ray tracing, I was like, you know what, I'll just play with it off. I mean, it wasn't unplayable, but it wasn't great experience. I don't like playing games with stuttering on, especially when they're these really fast-paced, fluid games like Ghostrunner is. As somebody who completed the first Ghostrunner game and loved that game, and yeah, that game had its issues, and it definitely worsened the experience having that stutter. And it's a shame to see they couldn't get it fixed for the second game, at least not for the demo. So
maybe there's some more stuff they can do, but it's just too difficult to. That's the thing, is like if this is the same engine, it's like these things like a team like with like a good core engineering of that could like maybe fix it, but it's a lot harder than other solutions. So yeah.
Again,
about the engine.
One of my big complaints with Ghostrunner was I wanted more of it. I was like, it could have been longer. I think there was a DLC, and they added more like combat stuff, because there was like when the game came out, it was just like added extra sword cosmetics, and I think they added a HAL DLC, which I haven't played, but I'll be interested to try that. But after playing Ghostrunner 2, I'm very interested in playing more Ghostrunner 2. I thought it was really fun, fast-paced.
Is there what's different in this that's not in the first? That's my question.
Immediately motorbikes. When we get to motorbikes, I'll talk about that.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
I saw motorbikes in the trailer.
Yeah. I'm not sure how the ability. It seems like so in the first game you had like this attaché Tetris system where you would have to balance how much energy you had to unlock abilities, but it seems like this game you have like base abilities that recharge on a cooldown. There's also definitely very different enemies. As you saw there, the guys with the hammers are brand new, which create this energy wave that you have to jump over. Also, something cool I found out is you can shoot shurikens at them, which stuns them, which then lets you grapple hook to them and attack them, which was like a really sleek way of taking them out that I found out diegetically by playing the game, which I thought was cool.
Yeah.
I thought if you went around a corner, it would just automatically start wall running on the next panel, but apparently it does not.
Jump there. You gotta be more skilled than
they're
that.
connected, though. I was like, surely if I don't jump, it'll just keep running on the wall.
I guess not.
No. But yeah, technical stuff aside, fast-paced fun. One more complaint, actually. So it's some of the areas it's sort of between like platforming areas and then combat arenas.
Yeah.
In one of the combat arenas, I found that I was constantly running around looking for the last couple of enemies. So the AI has this system where they will actually try and hunt you down, which I think they did a lot less in the first game. They would kind of just stay around the area they were. They wouldn't move around too much in the first game. Now, when you have these big open areas, they will like go on grind rails. They will go through these tunnels. They will like run around like crazy to try and find you. But what ends up happening is you're running around this arena looking for them. They're running around this area looking for you. And it just ends up like when there's not like a big group of enemies and there's only a couple ones left, it's like you're just playing like chicken chase, trying to find the last enemy so you can actually kill them. And then the last enemy just sneaks up behind you. You can't see him. He shoots you. And then you have to restart the entire arena again. It's like, oh, well, fuck me. Like, I had that happen, like, several times where it's like, oh, I think everyone's dead. Oh, no, wait, there's one guy who snuck behind me and shot me. I'm dead. I have to restart this area. Whereas, like, maybe you could add an ability to highlight the... Like, if there was one enemy left, maybe highlight them and say, there's one enemy left. Here he is.
What if there's like a button where you like end the arena? So if there's no one there, you can press it to highlight people. But if there's enemies there, it's then hard to press.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think sorry. That was your final negative. The rest is good. Stuttering and finding enemies.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have one for the motorbikes. A slight nil on the motorbike.
I'm very curious.
Motorbike is very. I like that. Okay, so every area, it's like, hey, here's where you can go into it, like just walking into it. But then it's like, but you could go through the vent here and get the drop on someone, or there's a completely different path where you can get a different drop point to enter combat. It's like, it's almost like immersive sim, where it's like, hey, there's completely different ways to enter arenas that give you different vantage points, which is like. That's really cool. Like, that really breaks up the... Like, here, I'm like, oh, there's one enemy left. I have to run around and find... Oh, here he is. But yeah, it helps break out the monotony of, like, it's just a bunch of battle arenas tied together. When it allows you to, like, move around in different ways, it lets you take things from different perspectives and different angles, and it's like it makes it feel more fresh.
Yeah. I think it's a cool idea. Yeah, having like multiple routes in and out of a it's in and out of between different arenas makes a lot of sense. Did the first game have less of that then, or was that
have less of like
more of the same?
You kind of don't.
Your paths.
You can kind of choose your path when you get into the arena, but you don't really choose your path into the arena.
Okay.
So the choices are more like when you're inside the arena, I would say.
Right.
So that's why it's a bit different. But yeah, I think it is sort of more of the same, but slightly different in terms of like the actual. It's more like I would say the areas you're in are like way more. They feel way more open. Like. It feels like they actually have pumped up the the aesthetic and the graphics of the game look like a lot better. It's less like closed areas. It's like you always felt like you were in this big sprawling city, but in Ghostrunner 2 you feel like you're in this big like crawling cyberpunk city, which looks really cool.
Okay.
Which I think is really cool. So there is some like
Yeah,
puzzle elements as
like-
well. We have to move around this block. It gives you this tempest ability. It lets you push things, which I think is cool. Because again, going back to that immersive sim stuff, it's like, oh, I've got this ability to push things. What if I push this guy into this laser field, or I push this explosive barrel into the, like? It gives you different ways to interact with combat, which I always think is a pretty good idea. It's like, oh, I could tempest this explosive barrel into the enemies, which
it gives you ideas so that it does more than the thing it was there.
Lets you combo stuff together, right?
Yeah. And then the map and the enemy placement is designed around that. Yeah, I think that's really cool.
This is the area where I was like, I wish there was. So this is what I was talking about, where I found out you could stun the guy with a shuriken.
Oh, and it's you have to grapple to them.
This is the area where it started to get quite big, and the enemies were chasing you down. So it's like, this is the sort of areas where I'm like, I wish. I mean, there is the mini map, I guess, that shows dots on it, but I sort of wish it was more like, when I'm playing the game, I'm not even looking at the minute. I'm just focused on what's ahead of me. Like I'm twitching around, moving very quickly. I wish if there was like one enemy left, you put a head over display on the map that went through walls, so you could just move in the direction of where he was. And I think it could just be an option that you could turn on. I think it would be a good idea. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the
I didn't even see the mini map though.
Neither did I when I was playing, which I'm now realizing.
I wasn't playing though, so I had no excuse.
Let's move on to the motorcycle.
Is it a reveal?
What's under here? It's a motorbike.
Hubless motor. Here we go.
Yeah, log in. I think a lot of the motorbike stuff was really good. My big complaint was the tunnels. There's these tunnels you go through, and they you basically turn upside down, and they like half the pipe is blocked off, but it's really hard to adjust yourself to go through the pipe. You also are kind of on the clock as well. You have like this boost bar, and if you go too slow, then you basically you fail. So you are incentivized to keep going fast, which I think is really cool. It did. I think it controlled fairly well. Like I didn't have like a big issue with controlling the motorbike with a mouse and keyboard. I thought it was pretty well done. It was pretty fun. I think my only gripe with the motorbike was the half pipes. If I get to one, I will show you what I was talking about. I think there was enough checkpoints that I was happy with.
You just go back and you could quickly try it and do it again.
So there's these half pipes with these fan blades, which I'm okay with the fan blades.
Yeah.
But I think it was the like the full half pipes, which I will try and find. Unless I've skipped too far. I'll let this play out for a minute, so you get a sense of the gameplay. You know, just so you get a sense of the.
Yeah, the sense of speed is definitely still.
Yeah, that's something Ghostrunner does really well. You always feel like you're going really fast in speedrunner, Ghostrunner, which I think is a really good thing.
I was trying to figure out. I was trying.
These are the pipes I was talking about. So it's like, you have to very quickly adjust yourself so you're not crashing into things. But it's really hard to, like, I'm trying to turn, but then you overturn, and then you hit the pipe, and it's like, it's really finicky inside these like full pipes, trying to get around these half pipe blockade things.
I don't know if this is a problem, like it's a clear design decision, but normally in these sections of games, you're not controlling a bike in a realistic way, so it's like very much like you're strafing. This game, you're very much pushing in a specific direction, like you're actually playing a racing game. I would expect
So,
once you hit these pipes, like going left and right, would
I
just have you
was
spin round.
I was playing with a mouse and keyboard for this section, and I'm checking
Okay.
on the forum. Somebody said, I found the bike tunnels almost unmanageable. I felt like I was getting consistent or understandable results when trying to steer through, and it frequently lost control and put myself into a spin cycle. I was playing on mouse and keyboard, and someone replied saying, I think these sections are supposed to be played with a gamepad. And the developer replied saying, try with a pad and see how you go. So potentially the motorbike sections are designed to be played with a controller, but that's kind of a bad design if the rest of the game you're playing with mouse and keyboard.
Yeah, I don't think if that is the case, then they're not emulating something right that has to be done on a mouse and keyboard. I think it's still very possible to do what you do on a gamepad here.
Again, I thought the motorbike was fine on the mouse and keyboard. It was just those like half pipe sections where I was not a big fan of the control.
Yeah, just to me, like if you're doing pipe stuff, you like to me in most other games you then go into like I know this is not realistic, but you are driving upside down in a pipe, so I don't think we should be entirely grounded in realism. It should be more think about more like strafing instead of like aiming a bike around a corner. But that's just, I don't know. I have to feel it to confirm that. My suspicions there.
Yeah, but overall, I think this game was fairly fun.
It looks great still. The style of the idea is still really cool.
I think the things to work on: motorbike pipes, stutter.
Yeah.
If this game launches with stutter, holy shit!
I would not be surprised if it did. I'm gonna be, which is an unfortunate place to be in, but
like we've seen so many Unreal Engine 5 titles launch with stutter now that it's becoming like, okay, what did they change with Unreal Engine 5 to do with this shader pipeline? Because it seems like
I do think more engines. Like I think you can't expect developers unless we like have the team be able to fix that. I think it does have to be an engine fix, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So
but yeah, this is where the demo ends. You get this cool look of driving down a side of a building, and it's like, what
would be a level in the game? Or
I assume it's going to be like, oh no, you're falling, you're going to die, and then you're like, no, wait a minute, I can drive on the side of the building. Yeah.
But that's for the rest of the game.
Tony, next up on platforms, we have the great platformer. There is only one level and achievement unlocked, the Elephant Collection. We talked about how the Flash games were being added to Steam as a way to preserve them. And one thing to mention, there is no controller support. So if you wanted to play with a pad, you cannot. You have to play with a keyboard, but given how some of the puzzles work, you kind of need to play with a mouse and keyboard because you have like ones where you have to press the escape key or press a certain key or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
My initial thoughts of playing this was, I think I remember enjoying this game as a kid more than I actually enjoy it now. It's kind of my hot take.
Okay.
I think as a kid, I'm like, oh, I love Flash games. This is really fun. But it's like, now I have access to real games. It's like Flash games are not as fun anymore. Like, kind of the bar's been raised a little bit. Like, it was fun to go back and to be nostalgic, but it was like, it wasn't great that there was no control support. And again, they're just basically emulating Flash in a container, I guess, because when you exit out the level, it doesn't remember any of your progress. Which is one of my biggest complaints with with like Frog Fractions, the Flash game that got added to Steam, was how I play games now is I don't play the entire game in one sitting. I usually I exit the game and I start again. I exit the game and I carry on from where I was.
Or there might be a problem and it quits. But either way, I assume what's happened is they've just directly ported it and have it running in a container and not adding anything else, which they could have done.
When you stop running Flash, it just starts again. It doesn't remember where you are. Like
and unless it's on a site back in the day, like where like you're logged in and like it could contain like that information. But if they haven't done that, then But that would have been but considering like there was like reworking and making it like run for like as a Steam game. It'd been nice if they could have added these conveniences.
But yeah, I tried to get as many as I could figure out without looking it up. I was like, I'll just see how many I can get and then come back.
How much is this collection?
We don't have a price yet.
We don't have a price yet. Okay.
It's coming out in 2 weeks. And we don't have a price.
How much was their previous collection though? Because there's a previous like collection, right?
I don't know. What was the previous collection?
I don't know. I thought there was like a Flash thing that they brought out before.
If there was, you'd have to tell me because.
I was gonna.
So it seems to remember that I got 75% of the achievements, but then as soon as I go back in, you have to start again. So it's like it gives you an achievement outside the Flash container. It's like, hey, you did it, but you can't go back in and try and get the other 25%. You have to start again. Which is why, like, I love the Achievement Unlocked, and there is only one level as a kid. I love Little Elephant games, playing them on my computer, but I was just clicking on everything to make sure, in case that was a way of completing a level. You know, there was always like those levels where it's like click on the link to my website and then you can beat the level.
Oh yeah, I do.
And stuff like that. When like the Elephant
Collect,
there is only one level, or Super Karoshi, or we did a spotlight on Super Karoshi, didn't we? I'm gonna say it, Tony. Super Karoshi holds up.
Yeah.
Out of all the Flash games, I think Super Karoshi holds up very well. In comparison to a lot of the other Flash games. Think before doing. I did not think. Because I pressed the button to close the exit. There's a lot of these like clever little ways until you get onto that one level where it's like home is key, and I'm like, do I press the home key? Do I have to go back into the pipe? And I couldn't for the life of me figure it out. And then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna play something else. But playing something else means that I have to start again. So I guess I don't want to launch the game again because having all your progress completely wiped feels awful.
I guess the idea is you meant to just do it all in one thing because like it's so quick, but yeah, it made for its time, I suppose.
Maybe it's quick if you know what you're doing, but you know, some of these are like hard without looking them up in terms of what you actually have to do.
I can't remember where it was, but Scorn Retorts, he was playing on some sort of like software that had like a lot of these things backed up. You could still play as like its own Flash. Yeah,
that was that collection that saved all the Flash games so you could play them.
Yeah, and it has a ton of games, and all of the Elephant stuff is on there. And he was like going through them and going, yeah, some of these are better than some of the versions of these are better than others. And the last one I think is like there's like lots of like levels that you could move between.
Apparently
a bit buggy.
The games are remastered in Air, which allows Flash content to run on your computer. I don't think I would call it emulation, as Air is a tool directly used to deploy Flash content. So it's sort of like Flash running, but it's not emulating.
I assume it's able to take in like previous levels or previous like games and then just like run it on its own thing. It can just like interpret it and then run it itself. Because emulating the level in the game, but then running isn't emulating. It's not emulating the runtime though.
Let's move on to Yellow Taxi Goes Vroom, which I really love this demo. I think it's great. It's like it's giving me real like Pizza Tower vibes.
Okay.
If you remember that game.
I don't entirely. I vaguely remember. I don't have like massive memories of it. I don't think I ever.
It's like a WarioWare kind of vibes, I guess. Another way to say it. Like,
right.
I like how you can turn that resolution down to get those real crunchy pixels.
Yeah. Where's the interlaced mode?
I think there is like different pixel modes. This is not Mario who's talking to you.
Right.
The idea is you are a car, but it's also a platformer. And there's even a part where
It
it's
looks
sort of
good.
like crazy. It's Mario.
Mori, he does look like a retired plumber.
Yeah. You get this great noise every time you talk to someone as well.
I like
And
the
great
really
camera
janky,
angles.
yeah.
I do
Creative
love this
cameras.
this great art style with like purposely janky
Yeah,
camera
it
angles.
works.
But it's essentially a big collectathon, but you play as a car, and it's great. I really like this. I think this is really cool. And there's even a level where it's like Crazy Taxi, where you're on a timer, but the way you extend your timer is you have to drive around picking up people and take them to different destinations. Again, you are a taxi, so I guess it makes sense.
Wait, Mariotron?
So I'll read the description. You are a yellow taxi in a platformer game with no jump button. Nope. Nope. That's the description.
So you have to like make jumps with speed.
Yeah, there's like a button that makes you do a boost, so you can do boosts up like ramps. And that's how you get up like different obstacles, or you'll like boost off a cliff to make distance. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So you press a button and you sort of like boost forward.
Okay.
So that's how you like But it's such a unique movement. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. Like the biggest
driving movement.
the closest thing to this game that I can say is it's kind of like Rocket League is like probably the closest comparison I can make to this game. It is like boosting driving, but platforming.
Yeah, it looks very like arcadey.
It's great. It's
Nintendo 64.
It's really fun to control, and yeah, I'm all for it. I think this.
And this having fun and like not criticizing, but like very like on the nose with like the art style, like what it's emulating. It's kind of cool. I like the Moai with the mustache and the noses. Yeah, this is really fun though.
It's sort of like
okay.
It's sort of split up into hubs where you collect gears, which then take you into different levels. Like you go into Mario's house. Also, there was these blocks with this reverse icon on. I'm guessing, this is just a guess, that there'll be some way to interact with those. This is a hat. This is what you spend your currency on, hats.
Okay.
I'm guessing there might be some sort of element where you unlock an ability later in the game where you can come back and interact with those, because currently in the demo I couldn't find a way to interact with those. Maybe I'm wrong and there is a way to interact with those, but yeah, they feel like something that's designed to come back and do later in the full game, potentially.
Yeah, okay. I don't really know what they'll be doing. They seem to be in weird spots. I can't think what it would be adding.
You'd think a platforming game without jumping would be quite hard, but it's actually, once you get the movement down, it's actually quite intuitive.
Yeah, you have the boost at the right time. I guess because you're thinking about then like height and like how can I make the so it's like just a different way of jumping, I suppose.
Yep.
You know, I think this is really cool. Like I feel like it's
skip ahead.
Just having fun with the idea and just
Oh, I accidentally crashed into a barricade and it was like, hey, crash into 50 barricades, and I was like, okay. Like it's just like, hey, here's a weird collectathon thing to do. Why don't you try that? And it's like, hang on, I'll skip ahead a little bit. So this is the area I was talking about. Oh, so apparently this is Bomb Beach. Mario cranks because you're a crank up car.
Yeah.
Mario's not here to crank you up, so you're on a timer in this level. And the way you get more time is by giving people rides as a taxi.
And they crank you up.
Yeah.
Okay. So really, it didn't need like a story thing, but I guess we needed a reason.
Immediately I knocked that guy out accidentally, so I died because I'm like, oh, I needed him to crank me.
Okay, that's cool. Okay, it's just like trying to get to the next checkpoint.
Wait, Tony, The Crazy Taxi Sega patent, the giant arrow. Finally, it's back. The
It's-
patent's run out.
Is this the premiere for it coming back? That's
Yep.
huge.
It's
It's nostalgic to see that.
Yellow Taxi Goes Vroom. We're finally here. This game was a joy. I just really enjoyed just driving around and just having fun. I'd recommend this. This is a really good platformer game.
It
Very
does
unique.
feel like it's just having so much fun. I love energy.
Okay, now we're on to the Souls games. We've got 2 Souls games. The first one up is another Crab Treasure from Aggro Crab. Finally, they've made a game in the Crab universe, like their publisher name and developer name would suggest. If you don't remember Aggro Crab, we did I think it was a spotlight on a game called Going Under, which is essentially an office roguelike game where you basically had to fight CEOs by throwing like chairs and random office equipment at them, and you had this style of constantly switching between different office equipment in order to combo together to attack enemies. And I see a lot of DNA in that, because in this game you are like a hermit crab without a shell, and you're constantly switching shells. So what shells do is you have a health bar, but when you wear a shell, it gives you another bar, that blue bar, which gives you armor.
Shell bar.
But
yeah,
as well as having the ability to give you extra armor, why wouldn't you just take the one with the most armor? Every single shell has a unique ability to it. So, for example, you can get like a one that it's like a crystal one that basically gives you spikes that damages stuff around you. One that I thought was very funny was you can get a probiotics bottle, and when you use the ability on it, it heals you over time, which I thought was like quite funny.
That's cool.
There's soda pop cans. There's there's bottle caps, and you can see like the smaller ones give you less armor but might have like more impactful abilities. I couldn't tell if I think potentially you might be able to move faster. There's no stamina bar, which I liked, because initially I saw this, I thought it was a platformer, but it's actually, I started playing with the controller and I was like, wait, this controls a lot like Sekiro, and I was like, is this a fucking Souls game? And it is very much like Crab Souls is what I will call it.
Crab Souls.
Yeah.
You're fighting other crabs.
Yeah, I'm fighting all the creatures of the... I'm just going to think. I think almost every creature you fight in this game is a crab. I think you fight...
Okay.
You might fight different creatures later down the line, but I think at least in the demo you fight just mostly crabs. It is called Another Crab's Treasure, so... And it is from Aggro Crab. Again,
Do you think they got mad criticisms like, when's the crab game coming out? And it's
yeah.
like, wow.
They were like, well, just you wait until we drop this banger.
Yeah.
I do like that you have that glide mechanic where you can briefly like swim because you are underwater, which I think is a cool mechanic.
You have to like land the jump easier.
Yeah, I like that they've taken this design from Going Under, where you're quickly switching between different furniture in that game, and then this one you're like trying to quickly switch between different shells, and then you prefer different shells based on their abilities, and you're like, it lets you experiment a lot more as well. You're not just tied to one sort of weapon as well, which is like really interesting.
Yeah, that's cool.
Not only is it your armor, but it's also your abilities, which I think is really, really cool. I would like to see them maybe refine blocking and parrying a bit. I thought it was a little bit off. I think it could be refined a bit more. So you can see like the glass shell here, it has 10 on the thing, so I think does it do a lot of damage? It might.
I guess
a different armor has different stats as well.
I guess one thing as well, if the shell's attached to abilities, then but it's also armor, so it's the first thing that gets hit. So you have to be careful not to lose it.
and you're constantly trying to put different armor on because as soon as your armor breaks, your health is vulnerable, and that's when you have these rejuvenating. He even like uses them like a Souls character. You can't tell me that's not like designed like a Souls potion.
Yeah, 100% is. There's like a time and an animation. Crab Souls. I'm not sure I was ever expecting this to exist.
It's really fun. I did find some bugs. Like I went in because there's this tutorial level, so I'll show you. There's like a boss fight. The Polluted Platoon Pathfinder. Again, the soundtrack's a fucking banger. I don't know if you've heard the soundtrack for Going Under, but like I think the song's called The Grind. I have it on my game soundtrack playlist, and it's such a fucking good song. Like, I think they always nail it with the soundtrack. So good to... Like, I love the art style. I love the soundtrack. The game is really fun. I'm really looking forward to this Crab Treasure game. I think it's really, really cool from what I've seen.
Yeah,
so, I've got injured. I need to run around and grab another shell.
Yeah, this is really good.
Here, I'll skip ahead. Guys, I killed the tutorial boss. I actually finished the tutorial.
You actually did it. It's because you played Sekiro. That's the reason.
Yeah, my Sekiro skills are coming in.
It prepared you for this game. This is the real test.
Pollution Scoured. I love how when you play a Souls game, it's like God Slain, Elden.
Yeah.
God Slain or Shinobi Shinobi Execution. It's like Pollution Scoured.
It's something like not too big for.
I was like, oh, that's the end of the demo, but they have this other area that you could explore, which is like a whole new area where it's like it's more like a slice of life puts you in later in the game. So you get access to these crab abilities.
Subjugate enemies. What?
So you get these power ups that lets you summon like this giant like crab, which I guess is kind of like a prosthetic. And then you also again have the shell abilities. So there is a lot of like customization to the way you want to play this game, which I think is really cool. So it's put you in as like a later level character. I was reading the controls because I initially started playing with a controller, and then I was like, oh, I play Sekiro with a mouse and keyboard, and I was finding it easier with a mouse and keyboard switching to that. But because even though it let me start using the controller, it didn't show the prompts in the controller, so I was like, oh, I'll figure it out. And then there was some stuff I didn't know how to use on the keyboard and mouse, but as soon as I turned the controller off, even though it was letting me use the mouse and keyboard, even though I had the controller on, it wouldn't show me the prompts until I turned the controller off for the mouse and keyboard. So that was something.
Yeah, because the other game do it is like as soon as you press an input, it immediately changes the prompts.
And then I got enough souls to level up, so I'm like, oh, I'll try and level up my stuff and see what happens, because they're these. There's these like shells that you go into to like teleport around and kindle the bonfire, or level up your character.
Yeah.
And I leveled up, and then I was stuck inside that shell. I couldn't move, so I had to like literally. There's a button to die instantly, so I had to kill my character to get out of the level up shell, which is a bug I encountered. I'll see if I can find it at some point.
See, the shell levels you up.
Yeah, they're like the bonfires, basically.
Right.
You can. So these are the shell spells, which I'll show you, which let you. This one lets you cool down electricity with this shell. I like they have the red attack that's like, okay, he's going to do like a big attack. That's a nice feature.
Yeah.
Yeah, genuinely, this game is really good.
I wasn't expecting a shell Souls-like game, but I'm kind of here for it. I kind of like the concepts that they're... It's not just thematically crab. Like, I feel like it's actually like... You feel like a crab. But
this game makes you feel like a crab?
I'm not sure this game makes you feel like a crab, but it uses the theme well and like has a mechanic that makes sense.
Just using my probiotics, just to heal up a bit.
Yeah, because that but crabs
You
you all the time.
oh, another bug. So ranged enemies. I fucking hate ranged enemies in Souls games. They always just stand on a fucking platform and shoot you for 500 times, and then you finally get up there,
like, pinpoint
and then you
accuracy.
kill those guys, and you're like, "Fuck you." The ranged guys were able to shoot me through the floor. Sometimes, like they're on these platforms, and they were able to shoot me through the platform. I was like, that's probably a bug that should be fixed because that doesn't feel great. Which is a small thing, which could probably be fixed quite easily, potentially. Yeah. I don't know. I found myself dodging more in this game than parrying, which I really like parrying, and I felt like dodging was more the way to go, but I don't know, maybe I'm just not used to the parrying timing in this game. Like, it's not as obvious as it is with Sekiro.
Yeah, well, Sekiro is designed around parrying, so maybe that's just...
I'm just a parry enjoyer.
Yeah, I think it's fair criticism like the other parrying timing isn't quite right, or the
But there's another boss in this area as well. The disease, like, he just keeps summoning these like grass crabs, and then he runs at you and eats you. And immediately I was like, how the fuck do you beat this guy? Because if you get too close to him, he just eats you and deals 1 billion damage, and you can't stop it. But I kept trying it, and I figured out that again, I think it's well designed where he's actually very slow. So if you get behind him, he can't really do too much against you. And even there's also a shell that is an ice cream, and its special ability freezes enemies, which is very useful against this boss. I found a lot of the time I was spending a lot of my time just attacking. I found just powering through enemies.
Staggering them and just powering through and hitting them.
Instead of just trying to dodge or block, just powering through attacks was a lot more effective, I found. Yeah. I like there's a lot of like exploration here. Yeah, I'll just skip ahead and I'll show you like... So this is the attack he does. It does like a load of damage, and then he just sucks you in. But I was like, oh, if I use the ice cream here, it allows me to get behind him and then deal a lot of damage. Because when he's sucking you in, he's kind of stuck in an animation. So if you're like struggling against this guy, a good strategy against him, the X core, because it gives you no fucking armor or anything, but it gives you a ton of stats, so you deal heavy damage when you're using the egg.
Right.
But it's not a very good shield. Yeah, exactly. This is the shards with the glass.
Does it do damage to them if you get hit, or?
Yeah, if they touch you, it damages them.
Okay.
I need to show the people that I killed this boss and pollution scoured.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the pollution being scoured, because he's diseased from the pollution, I assume.
Yeah, I played the tutorial and I played the optional zone, and I had a lot of fun. I was like, damn, this is really cool. I'm excited to play this when this releases.
Yeah, I think I'm going to check this out. It's really fun with the Souls like crab.
Coming to Games Pass. Another Crab's Treasure Xbox Game Pass review. So I think it's coming to Games Pass. I think this is like a perfect Games Pass game as well, just to try out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the final game I played is another Souls-like game called The Last Faith, which I would say is sort of like it's like Blasphemous but worse, is my initial opinion.
Okay.
It seems very heavily inspired by Bloodborne from the art style. And based on the aesthetic, it's very like Bloodborne, but also the fact you have to farm blood vials, which I fucking hate. The concept of farming health potions, which I don't know if you know this, Tony, but in Sekiro, you respawn with all your health potions.
Yeah.
In Bloodborne, you don't respawn with all your health potions. You have to go and farm blood vials, which
sucks.
I don't like that mechanic. I find it...
Because you die and then go, oh, I have to then do this task before continuing.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think the idea of like upgrading the maximum you respawn with is a much better system than
it is sort of like that slightly Metroidvania sort of. There wasn't too much Metroidvania stuff, but it is that sort of like 2D platformery Souls-like game. But it just from just playing the first Blasphemous on my Steam Deck, it just felt worse in every way to Blasphemous in terms of how it played and moved around. It was like, why would I not just be playing Blasphemous instead?
Yeah.
There is like a gun mechanic again, very Bloodborne. Have a gun mechanic where you need to farm bullets to use it. Like I know you really love the Gothic style and everything.
Yeah. The thematically it looks great, but if it's worse than Blasphemous every way, then I don't know. Blasphemous like kind of has my itch on this sort of 2D Souls-like already.
I didn't like the controls either. It was like RB and X to
that's a weird combination.
do it. Yeah, the controls were not very intuitive. They were not.
You do it on one hand.
The default controls are just bad, and I was using a controller, which I don't think you can rebind the controller in the demo. I could be wrong.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
But also, it was another one of those games, Tony, where I'm picking up thing. Again, I feel like this in Blasphemous, but you pick up the blue hammered Mullilorf shard. You found the key of Icarus. You found the stone of 1,000 truths, and it's like, what the fuck does any of this mean?
Yeah.
Oh, there's me accidentally pressing the heal button because I didn't know what that was. Yeah. Again, this is going to split people. Some people really love that like Bloodborne farm vials. I personally hate that shit. So if the devs like this is what we want for the healing system, cool, go with that. People that like that will enjoy it. I just personally think I will skip out on this one, The Last Faith.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit raw and yeah, I would rather. I've got Blasphemous at home. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the end of platformers Souls-like. We had some pretty interesting games in there, and yeah. Tony suggested the idea that instead of putting the best demos on the end of a random video, we make like a separate video that has my favorite demos on it. That I just like literally give a couple of second synopsis with some gameplay, and then I go, if you want to hear more, check out the full Tangerine.
Because my idea was that we'll put a link for each one, like at the time, like a timestamp link to the video, so that you just like click and go immediately open that video to the correct time. So
it's a good thing I didn't delete any of my recordings yet, because otherwise we would not be able to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see you on the next one for more Next Fest stuff. We've got Balls coming up. Balls. Goodbye.
Looking forward to Balls.
Balls.
Bye.